Hey y'all, the Southern Survivor here. I'm in the kitchen and today I thought I would show you how I make my deer jerky. Every year somebody new contacts me and wants me to text, email, or even print off this recipe. Everybody that's tried it loves it, so I thought I'd share it with you today. What I do after we kill a deer, I like to put the meat in a cooler and fill that with just water. I'll let that set for about 30 minutes. It helps clean the meat off. After that, I'll pour the water out and then I will fill it back up with ice water. And what I like to do is I like to let my deer meat sit in ice water for a week. But what I do is I change it out every other day. Put fresh ice water in every other day. A lot of people I've heard will complain and say they don't like deer meat because it has that wild taste. If you will drain the blood off your deer meat, it tastes so much better. And it's not actually a wild taste, that's just what deer tastes like. But it does taste a lot better if you will give it time to let that blood drain out. And like I said, make sure you change that ice water out every other day. Don't let it go, I would say, more than 2 days. But every other day is better. Now what I'll do is I'm going to show you how I slice the meat. I'm not going to bore you with all the details. I'll just show you a quick clip, show you how I slice the meat and what I use to slice that meat with. Then we'll start mixing ingredients and go from there. So, let's get to it. This is a piece of meat that we got from the hind quarter. I'm going to clean this up and remove all of what we call the silver skin. I don't know the technical term, but it looks like silver skin, so that's just what we call it. When I'm working up deer meat, I always use a fillet knife. I'm going to have to make thin slices, and a fillet knife is ideal for that. The way that I remove all this and clean it up is what I'll do, I flip it over, and I'll press it down with my hand. Be careful before you start cutting, making any slices. Always know the direction of that blade and where your hand or your digits are. You don't want to cut yourself. You want to be very careful when you do this. What I like to do is just press down on this with my hand and just slice, go down it like this on the cutting board. I won't lose very much meat at all if I take my time and work it slowly. There we go. Very little meat left or lost. And our dogs have to eat too, and they will absolutely love this. Okay, let me set this aside. All right. Now for the other side, same thing. And again, minimal meat lost there. On tenderloin, when you have that silver skin, a friend of mine will use fish skinners and peel that off the top of tenderloin. I have used that and it works great. And you lose very little meat that way. Now you can see that we have a perfectly clean piece of meat. All silver skin is gone. Now it's time to slice. And when you slice the deer meat, make sure that you always cut cross grain. Now, you don't want to slice it with the grain. You want to cut it cross grain. So, make thin slices. The thin slices make it easier to chew and soak up the marinade. I guess my slices are anywhere from 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch thick. One way that would help you to slice this is to put the meat in a freezer and let it freeze for an hour or so. Don't let it get solid. Just when the meat becomes firm, take it out of the freezer and it would make it much easier to slice, but I really don't ever have time for that, so I just do it this way. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, we're getting to the end here. There we go, that'll be good enough. Now I'm going to put this in a bowl and finish cutting up the rest of the meat and getting it ready to marinate. Now, I'm just going to put water in here, stir it up with my hand. to make sure I get as much blood out of this meat as I possibly can. Okay, now I'm going to do that again. I'm going to let that sit for about 15 minutes. I'll come back and pour that out and put fresh in. I'll probably repeat that 2 or 3 times, and just to make sure I can get as much blood out of this meat as possible. I thought I'd show you this quick tip. I mentioned earlier that a friend of mine uses fish skinners to remove the silver skin from the back straps or the tenderloin. I want to show you how he does that. Fish skinners. And make sure that you only grab the silver skin. Don't grab any of the meat or you'll take meat with you. Kind of separate that and get where we just have the silver skin. And then you got to, the only issue you have is holding on to it. If we can work that loose from the meat there. There we go, I'm starting to get it. Okay. And you won't lose any meat this way if you'll do it right. Take your time. Separate that from the meat, the silver skin from the meat, that is. May not have it. Hold on, may take me just a second. I haven't done this in a while. Okay, let's see what we have here. There it goes. Well, I caught a little meat there. Just caught a little more. Haven't done this in a while, sorry. Now I can just peel it off like that without the fish skinners. And you have a strip of the silver skin with very little meat lost. There we go. Silver skin is just about gone. And you have a perfect piece of meat. There you go. While that meat's soaking in the water, I'm going to clean up really good with Lysol. When you're working with meat and blood, you want to make sure that you kill all those germs. We use a lot of Lysol in our home, a lot of hand washing, not just for fooling with meat and blood, things like that, but our kids, all 3 of our kids are in school, so we want to try to avoid getting sick at all costs. I normally repeat this process of soaking in water and draining until the water is clear like you see here, which means all the blood is gone, or most of it anyway. Now we can start mixing ingredients for the marinade. You'll need something to measure liquid with, a teaspoon and a tablespoon, and a whisk. First off, you'll need Worcestershire. Now, I don't know if that's the correct way to pronounce that or not. You see that? That's what this is. Lee and Perrins is my favorite Worcestershire sauce. You'll need 2/3 a cup of this. Okay. Now, we need 2/3 a cup of dill seasoning. I don't put any salt in this recipe for the simple fact of there's enough salt content in this dill seasoning. We need 2/3 cup of this. This marinade here will marinate up to probably 2 pounds of deer meat. Okay, now let me set this aside. Black pepper, and we need 2 teaspoons of the black pepper. There's 1. There's 2. Okay. All right, now we need onion powder. And again, I'm going to take this top off here. We need 2 teaspoons I'll get it right in a minute, 2 teaspoons of onion powder. 1, 2. Now we need 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I used the McCormick's, and I didn't show you the onion powder. It really doesn't matter the brand, but I just always use McCormick's red pepper flakes. This gives it a little heat. I like to add just a touch more. Okay. Now we're going to whisk all of this together. Alright, the last thing we're going to put in is honey. This recipe will get 1 tablespoon of honey. And what I'm going to do here, after I add the honey, is stick this in the microwave, the marinade. I'm going to stick it in the microwave to help better dissolve that honey. You can stir it up, but the honey just doesn't dissolve until you stick it in the microwave. That's just what I found works. So, okay, all right. I'm gonna stick it in there, but for about 15 seconds. I like to marinate my deer meat in a zip top 1 gallon freezer bag. And I'll show you why in just a minute. Alright, here we go. We want to pour all that goodness right in there with that meat. Oh yeah. It's going to be good, y'all. Telling you. Now I'm just going to zip the top of this up about 3/4 of the way. Then I want to try to get all the air out of there that I can. Alright, then I zip it the rest of the way up. Okay, and the reason I like the zip top bag is because you can mix it all together like this. It's easier for storage in the refrigerator as well. Mix it all together really good. Okay, what I'll do next is I'm going to do the other bag after this, but I'm going to put this in the refrigerator, and I want this to marinate for 24 hours. That's the length of time that I like to marinate. It soaks up everything in there, and every couple of hours or so I'm going to walk by the refrigerator and I'm just going to flip these bags. That way every piece of meat will be able to soak up that marinade. So I'm going to finish the other bag real quick, and then I'm going to put these in the refrigerator, and I'll see y'all back in 24 hours. Welcome back. That deer meat's been marinating now for 24 hours. I want to show you what I do to get it ready for the dehydrator. I use these cookie sheets with paper towels in the bottom and lay the meat out on that. And then what I'll do is take more paper towels and just pat down on the meat to remove any excess marinade there. I'm just going to pat that down really good. Okay. As you can see, it soaked up the marinade really good. Alright, we're going to start putting this in the dehydrator now. This is my dehydrator. They all look different. We've had this one since probably 2004 or so. It's worked great through the years. You just read the settings. This one is set at 155 degrees Fahrenheit because that's what it recommends for making jerky. Okay. Then you just put your deer meat on there. Make sure you space it out and give it enough room for the heat to blow through. Get her plugged up and going. I'm going to let this run for 4 hours. I'll check it then. If it's not completely dehydrated, I'll check it again at 5, and 6 is the maximum. I don't ever let this stuff dehydrate past 6 hours. I think it just gets way too tough after that. I've got a couple buddies that let theirs go 10 and 12 hours, and it's like shoe leather. That's just too much in my opinion. So we're going to come back and check this in 4 hours, and we'll see what we've got. It's been 3.5 hours. I'm going to go ahead and check it. Looks good. It's drawed up enough and dehydrated quite a bit in that 3.5 hours. We're going to have to do a taste test and see what we have here, but you can see very well that that is jerky right there. Texture just right. Perfect amount of heat. And the flavor. I tell you what, old Sasquatch wouldn't mess with that other jerky if he could try this. I can guarantee you that. I wish I'd give y'all a taste test, let you see, because I promise you, you'd like it too. Man, I appreciate y'all being with me and watching this video. If you have any questions or anything else you'd like to know, more details about this recipe or anything else, drop those in the comments below, and I will put the recipe down there in the comments as well, just so it'll be easier for you to collect all the information there. That's all the time I've got for today, but again, I sure appreciate y'all being with me. This is the Southern Survivor signing out, saying God bless, and see y'all later. Good stuff. Good stuff.